Hello from the Cairngorms National Park. The area that I am in today is a place called Royal Deeside, and I've always been very curious why it's been called Royal Deeside. Over the next few days I'm going to explore this area and find out a little bit more about the royal connection to this part of Scotland. I'm currently in a town called Ballatar, and the autumn colours here are amazing. Let's go out and have a look around. Ballatar is a small village located in the Cairngorms National Park, known for its picturesque setting on the banks of the River Dee. It's famous for being the gateway to Balmoral Castle, the Scottish residence of the British royal family. Behind me here is Ballatar Station, and this is the first interesting place here in Ballatar. This is where the royal family would travel to by train when they came on holiday to this area. The train station closed down quite a few years ago. It's no longer in operation, but it has been renovated inside, and there's an old traditional train carriage that you can see. So let's go in and have a look. So down there's actually still railway lines underneath the train. Wow, this train is so nice. So old. Ballatar Station was originally built in 1866, and for many years it was the preferred arrival point for the British monarchy, as it was the nearest railway stop to Balmoral Castle. The station ceased to operate as a railway stop following the beaching cuts in 1966, but remains a key historical site and showcases exhibits related to its history and royal connections. In the back streets of Ballatar are the Victoria Barracks. These were built in the 19th century and used by soldiers stationed near Balmoral to protect the royal family. I next headed towards the Balmoral Estate. This vast estate, owned by the royal family, covers over 50,000 acres and features woodlands, rivers, moors, and Balmoral Castle. It's a working estate with activities such as forestry, farming, and gamekeeping. I've now made it to the Balmoral Estate, and I'm inside the boathouse sheltering from the wind on the shore here of Loch Muick. And the spelling of this loch is M-U-I-C-K, and the first time I ever saw it I thought it was pronounced as Muick or Muick, but the locals have told me it's pronounced as Mick, like the man's name. You can actually walk around this loch. It takes around 3 hours, and I'm planning to do that today. On the walk there is something really interesting to see associated with the history of the royal family. I didn't expect it to be so windy, and when I'm looking out here at the water it looks like the sea. It's really choppy. There's quite a few waves in the water. It's quite a busy place here. There's lots of people out walking even though it's midweek, but at the moment the autumn colours are out, so it's really beautiful. It's a nice time of year to come out for a walk, but it is cold. It is cold, very cold. Let's crack on with the walk. Loch Muick is a freshwater loch located on the Balmoral Estate. The walk around the loch is approximately 5 miles, and it's surrounded by towering hills and rolling heather moorlands. On this walk you can often spot deer, but I didn't see any. The walk is so enjoyable. This is what the track is like on one side of the loch. So where those trees are in the distance over there is the location where I want to show you something that's connected to the royal family. So almost there. I guess the royal family is a bit of a controversial topic, a bit like Scottish independence. I think a lot of people have their own opinions about that, but this video is not really to talk about if the royal family should exist or not. I'm personally very interested in history, and the areas around here do have quite an interesting history. So I've made it to the area where all the trees are. It's so nice here. This is Scotland. I actually think the wind has died down slightly. There's no more waves in the water. I've been hiking for around an hour and a half to reach almost the top end of the loch here, and this was the place that I wanted to visit. This is a hunting lodge which belongs to the royal family here on the Balmoral Estate. This loch was a favourite of Queen Victoria, who used to come here for walks and picnics. This hunting lodge was built in 1868 for Queen Victoria after the death of her husband, Prince Albert. This was a place that she'd come for solitude and for a retreat. It's such a lovely and peaceful place. Behind the hunting lodge, I believe there is a bothy, and it looks like there's some smoke coming up out of a chimney, so there's maybe people in there, so it might not be possible to film, but let's go and have a look. All the windows here have the shutters closed. There's some smoke coming out of the chimney. I wonder if that's the bothy. A bothy is a simple and often remote shelter, traditionally used by travellers and hikers as free accommodation in the countryside. Inside the bothy was pretty dark, but there was a sleeping area downstairs and also upstairs. There's a bothy toilet. Gorgeous! That bothy is really nice actually, and the people that are staying there, there's a family staying with some kids, they have the fire lit. Oh, it's nice and cosy in there. Makes a difference when you have the fire on in the bothy. Another thing with this bothy is there's a toilet, which is unusual for a bothy. Usually you need to go and dig a hole outside. However, some people choose not to do that, as I have experienced in the past when I stayed at a bothy. But even though it's a very simple style of toilet, it's still good that there is a toilet like that there. The royal family, I believe, own these buildings, so it's nice that they allow people to use one of these buildings as a bothy. On the door it says MBA, so it does look like it's run and operated by the Mountain Bothy Association, who take care of the maintenance and running of the bothies around Scotland and also in other places in the UK as well, I believe. I really wish I was staying in the bothy, not with them because it's a bit busy, there's lots of people there and kids and stuff, but I think it would be fun to do another night in a bothy soon before it gets too wintry and too cold. So I am at the end of the loch now. The views are incredible and there's hardly anyone around because I've come quite late in the day. I had a bit of an accident. I was taking some pictures for Instagram with the tripod and there was a huge big gust of wind and it blew over the tripod and it landed in the river. The camera went into the river, but luckily it was fine. It's a bit wet, but it still seems to be working. But oh dear, the wind here is crazy. At the end of the loch, I could see a few Munros in the distance. Munros are hills over 3,000 feet, and there are 282 Munros in Scotland. Many of them are in the Highlands. I've made it now to the opposite side of the loch, and the path is like this on the other side, as you can see here. So that side has a road to get to the hunting lodge, obviously, but you can get a really nice view of the hunting lodge from here, and it looks like a postcard because it's in the middle, the perfect middle, and then it has all the trees around the side. I'm back here at the van now, and you can pay £10 to stay overnight in the car park in your van. You can actually stay for 24 hours. There's not any signal, so I'll need to get the Starlink set up on the roof, but nice that you can stay here and do that. It's pretty cold this evening, so the first thing I'm going to do is put on my diesel heater. So last year I got a diesel heater installed in my van for last winter, and I have had a few issues with it, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. How I power the diesel heater is using my batteries in here. So I use Bluetti batteries. Generally I plug my fridge into the bottom Bluetti, which is the AC200 Max, and then the top Bluetti is the AC70, and I plug the diesel heater into that like this. Pretty easy, just turn it on and the heater will come on. The AC70 battery is a really great battery for traveling in a camper van because you can charge all your electronics as well. So on the front there's USB and USB-C sockets, so I use those for charging my laptop, my camera, my phone, my drone. There's also 2 AC sockets, so I use that for powering the Starlink internet and also my hairdryer and hair straighteners. Whenever I mention that I use hair straighteners or hair dryer in my van, there's always people commenting, why are you using that? But why not if you can? You can charge the Bluetti batteries in 3 ways. So number 1 is via a solar panel. So I have a solar panel on the roof of my van. The second is with the DC 12 volt cigarette socket in the vehicle. And then the third way is using AC power. So that's what you get in a house or when you go to a campsite. Bluetti have some great deals for Black Friday, and you can find out more via the link in the video description below. I'm a huge fan of Bluetti batteries, and thank you to Bluetti for sponsoring this video today. Now let's get warmed up in the van. Good morning from the campervan. So I have driven about 25 minutes to the car park of Balmoral Castle. It is unfortunately raining today, but there is that quote, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So I have all my waterproofs on. I'm going to head out and first go to the church, which is nearby here. So this church is where the royal family visit when they come here to Balmoral Castle. I think it's just a couple of minutes walk from the car park, so that'll be my first stop. Because I paid for parking yesterday over at Loch Muick, that parking fee also covers this parking fee because it's all part of the same estate, so that's really good. As I was driving here, I passed the Highlanders Bakehouse, and I went there last year. It was my first stop when I took a trip to the Scottish Highlands highest village, but it's closed today. I am so disappointed because the food and the cakes in there are so good. If you come to this area, make sure you try and go to the Highlanders Bakehouse if it's open, and try the butteries, which are the local speciality from the Aberdeenshire area. Here is the Crathy Church. Wow. Very nice this time of year with all the autumn leaves around. Let's see if it's open. I doubt it. No. Locked shut. It's interesting that some churches you go to, they're locked and then some are open. Generally, a lot of the churches that have the doors open that I've been to are on Scottish islands, so that might be why. I don't think I've ever tried to visit a church on the Scottish mainland before, so maybe they're usually locked. I'm not sure. Crathy Church has been the royal family's place of worship when staying at Balmoral since Queen Victoria's time in the 19th century. Built in a Gothic revival style, it features distinctive granite architecture, beautiful stained glass windows, and an elegant interior. Okay, so there's nothing really to see here at the church, so I'm going to head on to the next location. I started my walk and made my way past the entrance of the castle grounds. The place I'm going to is a little bit past Balmoral Castle, and as I'm walking, I've spotted some friendly Highland cows, and I've never seen a black one before. It's my first time seeing a black Highland cow. I always thought they were brown. Oh, they're so cute! So here on the Balmoral Estate is also a golf course. Looks very nice. As I was walking, I came across this sign here. Please don't throw sticks, stones or rubbish on the curling rink. Oh my goodness, there's a curling rink. That is incredible. I guess that's the curling rink in there behind the trees. That flat grassy area. Wow, how cool. That must be the curling hut. Let's go and have a look. This is the curling rink, and it looks like there's floodlights as well. I need to take a picture and video of this and send it to Jim at the Curling Stone Factory. So I went out to Ailsa Craig earlier in the year with Cays of Scotland, who hold the licence for manufacturing curling stones from Ailsa Craig. And this is an island off the west coast of Scotland. It has a very unique type of granite, and it's the only granite allowed for curling stones in the Olympic Games. And I made a whole video about the entire process of how they extract the granite and how they turn it into curling stones. It is so fascinating, and Scotland is the home of curling. And if you're interested in curling, definitely watch that video. I will link it below. But I never knew there was a curling rink here. It's really cool. I next made it to the Loch Muick distillery. This distillery has royal connections dating back to 1848, when Queen Victoria and Prince Albert visited and granted it a royal warrant. This is an official mark of recognition granted to businesses that supply goods or services to the British royal family and symbolises quality and reliability. The distillery is now owned by Diageo and is known for its rich, balanced whiskies, which are sometimes described as fruity and creamy. I had a chat with Eric from the distillery.
This is a whiskey which is produced here. A 12-year-old, 40% alcohol, the basic. This is the one you can buy only here. It's a distillery exclusive. 3,000 has been bottled, 48%. And it has a finish in a cask called a muscat. Muscat is a sweet wine. Just to be different. And then we get a third one. Oh, now you fill your own. We give it. It will end up looking like one. It will end up looking like one. 11-year-old, 57% alcohol. It's very limited amount from the cask, obviously.
The distillery was amazing. That is probably the friendliest distillery that I have visited. I didn't try any whiskey because I am driving today. And nearby the distillery is the walk to go and see the cairns. So I have seen pictures of this on social media. It's a large pyramid-shaped cairn. And I've always been curious to see it in real life. So I'm going to walk up to it now. I've met quite a few people here on the road. Some people from Germany were lost because they couldn't find the start of the walk. So I will show you, if you want to do this walk, where you need to come. So I'm on the road now, and then if you continue up there, this is the road to the distillery. But on the right side, you'll see these houses, and then you need to take a right in here, and this is where the walk starts to the cairns. As you can see, there's the sign pointing to the walk to the cairns, so let's head up there. Here is the turn off to go to the Prince Albert cairn. This is the famous pyramid-shaped cairn. The 11 cairns at Balmoral are commemorative stone cairns erected by the British royal family on the Balmoral Estate. Each cairn serves as a unique historical marker, representing various milestones in the lives of the British monarchy. These cairns are scattered across the estate, and visitors can follow trails to discover them. So this is the first cairn. It's so much bigger than I expected. I thought it was going to be a small cairn like that you see on the top of hills. Inside this woodland is so beautiful as well. I think I have arrived. I am well overdressed for hiking this polo neck. So sweaty. Okay, there is the big cairn. Wow. This is Prince Albert's cairn, the largest and most prominent of the cairns, built in 1862 by Queen Victoria to honour her husband Prince Albert after his death. Located on a hill with expansive views over the estate, it bears a simple inscription and is one of the most visited cairns. Wow, the views from up here are amazing. The cairn was actually a bit further of a walk than I had thought, but it's definitely worth coming, especially this time of year. Look at the colours. It's really big as well, much bigger than I expected. After my walk to see some of the cairns, I headed towards the entrance of the Balmoral Castle grounds. It's free to enter the castle grounds. So I've now made it into the Balmoral Castle grounds. In the autumn season and perhaps other times throughout the year, you can come in and you can see the grounds and the gardens. You're not able to go into the castle. That's open at different times of the year, but you can see the outside of the castle when you go into the grounds, and there's also a gift shop as well. So I'll head down now and see the castle. So there's this junction here, and you can head to the castle or the gardens. So I'm going to head up here towards the castle. They must tie the horses or ponies on here at this wall. So inside the gift shop there are so many different types of royal souvenirs, Balmoral souvenirs, if that's something that you would like to buy. They also have the Christmas decorations up in there, which are so beautiful. There's also a cafe, so I'm going to head in there next and have something to eat because I'm absolutely starving and there's not much food left in my van actually. So let's see what they have on the menu here. The cafe has a menu using lots of local suppliers and produce. I ordered the Cullen skink And inside the cafe, there are lots of photos of the royal family. Finished up my lunch in the cafe. I ordered the Cullen skink and the chips. They're very nice. The cafe is really nice actually. It looks quite new. I've now made it outside here in front of the actual castle. It's so impressive. I'll take a walk and have a look around the castle and also see it from the other side, because that's where I think you get the proper view. The original Balmoral Estate dates back to at least the 15th century, when it was part of a large hunting area. In 1848, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert visited Scotland, seeking an escape from public life in London. The romantic and remote Scottish Highlands offered them privacy and a sense of freedom from the pressures of royal duties. After staying at Balmoral, they quickly fell in love with the estate, and in 1852, Prince Albert purchased it on behalf of the Queen. The original building was deemed too small, so Prince Albert commissioned the construction of the current larger castle, which was completed in 1856. Built in the Scottish baronial style, the castle reflected Prince Albert's taste and vision for a truly Scottish retreat. Following Prince Albert's death, Queen Victoria's attachment to Balmoral deepened. The castle became a symbol of Victoria's love for Albert, and she made frequent, lengthy stays in Scotland for the rest of her life. Since then, Balmoral has remained a private royal residence, passed down through the generations. Each monarch and royal family member has kept up the tradition of visiting Balmoral, and it remains one of the few royal properties not owned by the Crown Estate, but privately by the reigning monarch. Balmoral is especially known for its association with Queen Elizabeth II, who spent time here every summer throughout her life. So I have made it to Balmoral Castle, and I think this spot here is the best viewpoint to see the entire castle. And this time of year with all the autumn colours, it really is incredible. I know I keep mentioning about the autumn colours, but what's unique about the Balmoral Estate is there's such a variety of different trees. When you go to other places in Scotland, sometimes there's no trees, or they have these green trees, I can't remember the name, I'll write it on the screen, but they don't tend to turn orange. But here on the Balmoral Estate, it is truly autumn with all these fantastic colours. At the moment the house is all shut up, the shutters are closed inside the house. During certain months of the year you can go into some of the rooms inside the castle. I believe it's maybe the entrance hallway or something like that. However, I know someone that's done it and they said it wasn't that great. You don't really get to see much inside the castle. That was just their opinion though, so I'm not sure. Something that might surprise some of you is that you can come here and you can walk around the gardens and the grounds of a property that belongs to the royal family. I actually was surprised as well, because I thought there'd be much higher security, it would be really strict, members of the public wouldn't be allowed in, but it is really nice that they do allow the average Joe like me to come in here and see the grounds and see the castle from the outside. To wrap up my time in Royal Deeside, I visited Braemar, another lovely village in the Cairngorms National Park. It's set along the River Dee, which flows towards Aberdeen. The autumn colours here were some of the most incredible I've ever seen. If you're looking for somewhere to stay in the area, the Fife Arms is one of Scotland's most fabulous hotels, although the prices do reflect that. Just outside Braemar, you'll find Braemar Castle, managed by the local community, and the Linn of Dee, one of Queen Victoria's favourite picnic spots. This is such a beautiful part of Scotland, and it's been nice to learn more about the royal connection to this area. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.